Okay, so we're going to go ahead and continue our conversation about sequences and move into another type of sequences today called geometric sequences. So we're going to start with kind of a review very quickly and just kind of talk about a sequence in general. So the question, what are sequences? They are a string of objects that follow a particular pattern. Okay, they're a string of objects that follow a particular pattern. And in this case, we're generally talking about numbers, but we could use things other than numbers to form a sequence. Okay, so in these first couple of examples, we're going to be using dots. So in the beginning, you have one dot. After 1 minute, there are 3 dots. After 2 minutes, there are 9 dots. After 3 minutes, there are 27 dots. So we started with 1, we went to 3, we went to 9, and we went to 27. How would we find the next term? Well, 1 to 3, we're adding 2, but 3 to 9, we're not adding 2, so we have to look at a different option. So 1 to 3, we're multiplying by 3. 3 times 3 would be 9, and 9 times 3 would be 27. So it looks like we would multiply the last term by 3. Okay? So in the past, we've done arithmetic sequence where we added or subtracted a number each time. This time, we have an example where we multiply. So let's look at the next one. Here we have 10, 20, 30, 40. And then we have 20. And then we have 10. So what have we done here? Well, we have, again, divided by 2, or we could say we have multiplied by 1/2, which is the same as dividing by 2. Okay, so we've taken that 40, we've split it in half, and then we've halved it again to get the 10. Okay, so this third one over here, we have 3, and then it becomes 6, and then it becomes 12, and then it becomes 24. And so each time we have doubled it, so we are going to multiply the last term by 2. Okay, so these sequences are going to be different than the last ones because we're going to be dealing with multiplication here. Okay, so a geometric sequence is what we're going to be talking about. It is a sequence in which each term after the first is found by multiplying the previous term by a constant called the common ratio. So before we were adding with arithmetic, remember we added a constant that was called the common difference. Well, now we're going to be multiplying a constant called the common ratio. And the common ratio is the constant that is multiplied by each term in a geometric sequence in order to find the next term. Okay, so it's the constant, and we call it a common ratio. So before we had a common difference because we were adding and subtracting. Now we have a common ratio because we're going to be multiplying. Okay, so here's an example of a geometric sequence. All right, Samantha's dad gives her a push on the swing. At her highest point, she is 5 feet off the ground. So in the first swing, she is 5 feet off the ground. Remember that a sub 1 is the same as f of 1 is equal to 5. So if he does not give her another push, you know that when you're swinging, you don't go as far the next time if somebody doesn't push you. So each progressive swing will be 85% of the height of the previous swing. So how would you find the height of the next 3 swings? Use this information to write a formula for the 10th swing. Okay, so in the next swing, she's going to go that 5 feet. She's going to go 85% of that. So we can multiply that 5 feet by 85%. That's going to find the next one. Okay, well then the next swing, she still had that 5 foot. She still went 85% of that, but then she went 85% of that. Okay, and then again, we had the 5 feet, and then she went 85% of that, and 85% of that, and 85% of that. Okay, so we can multiply that. Now, if you notice, this first swing, she went the full 5 feet. The second swing, we multiplied it by 1 of those 85%. The third swing, we multiplied it by 2 of those 85%. And the fourth swing, we multiplied it by 3 of those 85%. So at the 10th swing, if we follow that pattern, we need to multiply it by 9 of those 85%. But rather than writing it out, we could take that 85% and raise it to the 9th power, or 10 minus 1. Okay, because it's the number of swings minus 1, because that first swing was that full 5 feet. Okay, and so that is the pattern or the formula that we would use. All right, so we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute.